Hi, this is Wishop, and this is a tarot card reading for the new moon of May 4th, 2019. It is a new moon in Taurus at about 14 degrees. And what I see in terms of the astrological influence is that there's tension with the practicalities, the real nuts and bolts circumstances of your life and what you want your home life to be. And I say home life because the North Node is in Cancer in the ninth house, Cancer being a sign of home, but also a sign of intuition and feeling. And so it sort of bespeaks a kind of reaching for something further, a reaching for a new kind of home, a new horizon, but like I said, a new place to call home. It's not just a roaming energy, it's a place that wants to find a new home, a new way of being, maybe a new kind of family, or a new situation. And it's working against, it's pulling as hard as it can against this group of other important astrological influences, which are Saturn, Pluto, and the South Node sitting there in Capricorn. And right now, the area in Capricorn at the time of this new moon is in the third house of siblings and associates and short distance travel. So it makes it look like a small amount of change is not feeling like enough. Like you're not looking to nibble around the edges of this problem. You're looking for sort of bigger, more dramatic solutions. And at the same time, we have Jupiter, which is retrograde in Sagittarius. Jupiter is always benevolent, and especially in its own sign. But right now, the Jupiter at the time of this new moon is in the second house of basically earned income. So Jupiter is asking you, well, look at what you've already got. Don't be too hasty. The fact that it's retrograde can sort of mean a re-examination of traditions and rules. So it's saying, we'll look carefully at what we have. And meanwhile, it's being opposed by Mars, which is in the eighth house, traditionally ruled by Scorpio, but it's actually there in Gemini. So it's pulling with its communications in areas like other people's money, estates, really trying to get down to the nitty gritty. So you have Jupiter and Mars sort of pulling across in these income houses between what I earn and what someone else earns and what I can expect and what I can create. And there's tension there. And Jupiter is saying, don't take your blessings for granted. Think carefully about everything you've gotten so far and everything you've done. And Mars is saying, well, between you and me, Mars wants to share its confidences. Between you and me, I'm not so sure this is enough. And so Venus is in pretty much the middle of Aries. So she is kind of in love with her own vision, you might say, her own self-concept. And I don't necessarily mean that in an arrogant way. It's like, but she's got an idea and she's in love with it. And again, she's sort of pulling across from these other energies. So anyway, I guess what I mean to say by this is I think you can expect to feel a certain amount of tension about your real circumstances. And you can expect other people to feel that tension too. And the fact that the new moon, at the time of the new moon and the sun together obviously are in the seventh house of partnerships with Taurus, is think it's asking questions about how your partnerships and your closest alliances are really working for you, and whether or not you need to plant some new seeds. Now, I don't think that necessarily means breakups, but I feel like if something like that were on the horizon, Mars would be talking about close friends about it, like feeling like venting some of the frustration with confidants about the circumstances that he finds himself in. And with the North Node in Cancer, it's like, and I feel like going someplace new and having a new life and a new home. And so obviously that can be within the context of breakups or family questions, but it could also be, somebody's planning where to go to school next fall. And instead of being close to home, they're really thinking, I want to go further away. It could be that you're looking at a move for a job that's further away. You're feeling a little restricted by where you're at. And while Jupiter's urging you not to take your blessings for granted, you are definitely, there's a fire. I think there's a fire in the belly right now to look really candidly at the circumstances around you, to try to see them clearly, and to try to make moves toward what you want, even if it is maybe dramatic or something that you weren't imagining at the moment or imagining before. I'm just going to do 3 tarot cards here. I am using Madame Clara's tarot deck. I think I kickstarted or Indiegogo'd these, but I think you can find them. I think their desire was to make them available for sale. It's a cool deck. I got the reading cloth came with the deck, and I'm pulling from the deck, and I'll show you on the bottom of the deck. These have a really kind of a neat graphical style, and you'll see in this bottom banner, let me see if I can get in focus. Okay, it's got written on each card sort of a key idea about the card, like Ace of Cups, which is at the bottom of this deck, which is not really a surprise because we're talking about new beginnings. A new love fills your heart and fulfills your wishes. If you got this card in reverse, it also has a little message here. Overcome with emotion is the time to let it all out and move on. So the cards all have sort of a similar colorway, and it's also got a couple extra bonus cards, which include this one, which is the Eye of Providence, and I think the Hand of Mystery is the other one. So the Eye of Providence extra card is, mind the watchful one who sees all our thoughts and deeds. So it's got some interesting stuff going for it. I think it's a very pretty deck. You can sort of get a feel for the colors and the graphical style, but I wanted to give a little bit of attention to it. So let's get into the reading. We have King of Swords upright, looks decisive. The Emperor upright. Oh, hello. Okay. 6 of Cups upright. All right. So the first thing is we've got a major arcana, we've got a King of the Court cards, and we've got the 6 of Cups. So we're really dealing with some very strong and decisive energies. The Emperor, of course, is the strongest, and it says, let me see if I can get this in focus here. Good advice from a mentor, with the wisdom of the ages. Okay, so a mentor with the wisdom of the ages. To me, this is a little bit like the Jupiterian influence and Mars, where Mars is looking to spread its confidences and maybe even get some advice, and Jupiter is saying, don't be too hasty, which is probably kind of frustrating. We have the King of Swords that looks ready to make a decision. And the King of Swords in this deck reads, Let's see. Let good judgment and clear thinking always be your guides. So this is obviously very decisive energy. Here we have the Six of Cups, which is sort of the only bit of maybe softness or sweetness in a way, because with the moon in Taurus, our emotions are going to be very much on our value systems, and they're going to tend to be more concrete. What do we value? What are we getting value out of? How are we investing our time? Where do we feel most at home? I think that is really an important question. So the Six of Cups reads, let your inner child live for the moment and look to the future. So this is interesting because a lot of times the Six of Cups will be positioned as a nostalgia card, but this is being positioned as an inner child card who lives for the future, which, given the context of the astrology, I think is kind of an important difference in this deck. I'm going to swell up here a little more so hopefully you can get a good look at these cards, because I think they are very cool looking. So the Six of Cups is obviously not as strong a card as the Emperor. So if I'm looking at the Emperor as kind of the internal situation, and this is sort of where we're at in our practical life, and maybe this is sort of moving forward in external ways, it's sort of saying you're feeling like a boss right now, and you're feeling like you're ready to make decisions. But the Six of Cups is saying be a little bit gentle with that. The Six of Cups is also, for me, is Mars in Scorpio. Not everyone reads it this way, but I do. So for me, when Mars is at its home in Scorpio, it's really where its heart is. And Mars is full of heart, is full of warmth, is full of sincerity, wants to be straightforward about things. And I think the idea here is to kind of follow your joy a little bit. Yes, you want to be practical. Yes, you want to be wise. But these things have to be in service to something joyful, so that you're planning what makes you joyful, what makes you feel at home. And then you're putting all of your intellectual resources and your strength in service of that, which is funny because it's kind of like we're asking these little kids at play, what do you want? What do you love? What is exciting for you? And then you're bringing your inner boss to the party, because the idea, given the flow of cards, doesn't seem to be to drown out these voices and, oh, don't forget to be practical. Don't forget to be pragmatic. I think the idea is, how can you put your pragmatism, your strength, your personal authority in service of something that to someone else might even seem childish or wishful? But I think we're being asked to do some very, in a way, pragmatic wish crafting. Create a wish and get very pragmatic about it. I think that's what this moon offers. Planting seeds that can have real concrete value going forward by first falling in love and being really honest with yourself about what you love. So that's it for this time, and hopefully I'll have more readings coming up. But until next time, rock on with your bad selves.